Welcome to that Groovy Scoobcast, your go-to audio hub for all things Scooby-Doo. Shannon, where are you?
I'm up here, making puppy pancakes.
Hi everybody, my name is Derek.
And I'm Shannon.
And today we are going to be talking about 3 short episodes from A Pup Named Scooby-Doo titled Catcher on the Sly, The Ghost of Mrs Shushman, and The Wrath of Waitro. Can you give me a one-word thought on each one of these episodes for me, Shannon?
Wow.
For all 3?
For all 3.
For
wow.
all 3, okay. This is a weird format for this show.
It is. I wasn't expecting it.
The show normally runs for 30 minutes, guys, and instead they divvied it up into 3 shorts. And they weren't even shorts either, because normally when we watch like the Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo shorts, they're 7 minutes each. These ones had like a 4-minute episode, like a 10-minute episode, and I was just like, it was just weird how they clumped them all together.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, and it wasn't like they were 3 totally separate ones. Like, they were all together. Like, on the same app, you only had to click on one thing because they were all clumped together.
Oh, yeah. I hear what you mean on the Boomerang app. Yeah. But before we delve into our conversation on those episodes, we are going to kick off our Mystery Machine Match, our weekly trivia competition where Shannon and I try to figure out which one of us knows Scooby-Doo better than the other. Currently, our points sit with me at 18 and Shannon with 17. She caught up real good last week.
I did.
Well, let's see if you can catch up even more, maybe even get ahead.
Ooh.
Ho-ho. As always, Shannon, you can get us started off today.
In what mountain range do the teams of Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics have to try and hang a bell on the abominable snowman? In the Alps or the Himalayas?
I'll say the Himalayas.
Yeah, you would be correct.
Awesome. Here is your first question. In Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, what is the name of the diner where the gang meets? Mama Mione's or Sergio's?
Sergio's?
It was Sergio's.
Because I was going to say Mama Mione's was the other episode.
Yeah, the Iron Face.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your next question?
Jane Wilden, who did the voice of Dusk in Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, is also a member of what famous all-girl rock band in real life?
I figured.
I just wanted to make sure you knew.
The Hex Girls. I genuinely don't know. I don't have an answer.
I wouldn't know this either.
Who is it?
It's the Go-Go's.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well then, here's your next question. Scooby-Doo was once used as part of a campaign by what well-known convenience store?
7-Eleven?
It was 7-Eleven.
I remember that.
Yeah.
An ill-advised shortcut given by what member of Mystery Inc. leads the gang into trouble in Which Witch is Which?
I haven't seen that episode in such a long time.
I was going to say, I don't remember if we watched it together or not yet.
Would it be Shaggy?
Yes.
Was it Shaggy?
It
I remember
was.
Shaggy talking to the zombie, but okay. Huh, that was a hard one. Okay, here is your last question. Yes or no? In one of the Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics episodes, teams had to try and build igloos.
Yes?
Yes is correct.
I don't know.
Well, it looks like each of us are picking up 2 points today, bringing our totals to 20 and 19. So you're still right behind me.
Yeah, at least I didn't lose any traction.
Right. Okay, so that was this week's Mystery Machine Match. We'll move on to our discussion of these episodes. I figure we'll start with Catcher on the Sly, the first one of the shorts. I have a premise for you guys here, coming from Scoobypedia. It's Scooby's bath day, but is he doomed when the dog catcher, Buster McMutt is after him?
Okay, so I do want to say, like, when we read the premise last week, my thought was this episode was going to be like Scooby runs away because he doesn't want to take a bath, and it was going to be like a Lady and the Tramp type thing where it was like the dog catcher was just trying to catch a dog. Mm-hmm. This dog catcher like comes into Scooby's yard, like is specifically hunting out Scooby for a reason.
Now, I do need to give the episode some credit here, actually. And I was a bit confused for that same reason that you're stating here. There was an episode, because this episode is technically part of the 4th season of A Pup Named Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
There's an episode in season 2 titled The Collar... What's it called? Curse of the Collar. And it explains a history between Buster McMutt and the Doo family.
Okay.
So he has a vendetta against the Doo family. The weird thing, though, so I have several fun facts for everybody today regarding these shorts, guys. But one that I'm just going to share right now is that episode portrays the ghost of Buster McMutt.
Oh.
Turned out to be somebody else, it wasn't actually Buster. But it's interesting because this episode reveals he's not even dead. Someone just pretended to be his ghost. So I just wanted to say that now because it's going to clear up a little bit of the history that they seem to have, because there is actually a history in the Pup Named Scooby-Doo canon where he's after the Doo family, so he's specifically going after Scooby.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, I figured there was some sort of history just because, like, Scooby specifically knows him by name too, so I was like, okay, there's got to be something there,
But regardless of their history, I just think it's funny. Yeah, he's trespassing on Shaggy's property.
Yeah.
After a dog who has a collar. Like, what are you going to do when you take him to the pound? Like, are you just going to throw away his collar? Like, what's your plan here? We start the episode with Shaggy taking Scooby out into the backyard. He's carrying him to a little bathtub that's set up out there, and Scooby's not having it.
No, he, like, throws Shaggy in the bathtub instead and was just like, yep, that's happening.
Yeah, right. And Shaggy said, nope, okay, I guess we'll have to wait until tomorrow. So he goes back inside.
It's fair. I would also, if my dog threw me in the bath, I'd be like, cool, so we're not doing this today.
This is when we see Buster McMutt. He pulls up in his dog-catching vehicle, and he has a Doo detector. So this is what he's using to, I guess, detect Scooby himself. And he ejects himself from his car with a spring driver's seat.
Yeah.
And intends to capture Scooby in his dog net in the air, and it didn't work. He missed. He landed in the tub, in fact.
Yeah. It very much reminded me of, like, the Roadrunner and Coyote.
I was thinking Tom and Jerry, but
okay.
Same dynamic. Same dynamic here. Mm-hmm. So we see, like, Scooby sneak around the house. Buster is now standing on top of Shaggy's house with a metal vault that he intends to drop on Scooby. Scooby's like, where's Buster McMutt? And he's like, I'm up here. I'm about to make a puppy pancake. Because at this point, it's not even you trying to catch the dog. This is just you trying to kill him.
Oh, yeah. He's straight up like, you're going to die today.
Because he also tosses down a piano. And let's see, what else did he toss? He also tossed down a car. And he had a boulder up there, but the boulder came down after he fell down there.
I would like to know how he got all of that up on the roof.
Yeah, it's a real good question. I noted that when Scooby evaded all these large objects, he climbs down the ladder and he goes, he's getting me perturbed. That's a really weird word to use here.
It was a big word for, like, what is a child's show?
Right. Well, then also when he's underneath the boulder, he holds up a sign that says, like, have mercy or mercy on it.
Yeah, something like that.
So that gave me the real, like, Looney Tune, Tom and Jerry vibes as well. So yeah, I hear what you're saying there.
I do imagine just, like, a lot of little kids after that episode just being like, perturbed. Just a whole bunch of, like, just an army of little 6-year-olds that are like, I'm perturbed. It's like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So we continue the Pup Named Scooby-Doo theme of Shaggy's house always having Christmas decorations up.
I love it.
That's my favorite thing, I think, about this series is the fact that they just stick to that. That they're
Because
this
honestly,
is clearly
that's
like a hot summer day, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
This is like June.
It's honestly, like, the most relatable thing about this whole series is that, like, if my Christmas stuff goes up, man, it's taken me a long time to take it down.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, this episode and these 3 shorts, they deviate so much from what we are used to.
Yeah.
For Pup Named Scooby-Doo. Especially, like, with this one, because we also often don't really see them and their antics during the day.
Yeah.
Or at least not from what we've ourselves seen.
They are normally at night.
Then we see this daytime thing, and like when the episode started, we didn't see anything in the backyard. I'm like, oh, so they probably aren't doing that in this episode. But nope, they return to it because Buster McMutt returns in a mailman costume, and he's hiding behind that snowman cardboard cutout that's in the front yard.
I do love that as he's walking towards the front yard, you just see like 4 or 5 dogs like peeking, and then he rings the doorbell and he's like, mailman, and then they attack him.
Oh yeah, it was like a coordinated plan.
Oh yeah.
Like absolutely preemptive attack.
Those dogs knew what they were doing.
Right. I noted that Buster does not know how to spell pizza.
Yep.
He sets out a platter with pizza on it in the backyard to catch Scooby. He writes it as Peeza. When Scooby eats the pizza, though, he, like, licks it clean. You can see his reflection in it.
He ate it so fast, too.
Yes, and we see Buster in his car, and he pulls out the Demolition Ray, which, you know, shoots to vaporize Scooby, and it bounces back with the clean tray, and it destroys Buster and the truck. He pulls it
burns him.
Right. Well, then he pulls up the other mercy sign.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot that hurt sign after he got attacked by the dogs.
Oh, yep.
So he has a wide array of signs prepared for these kind of situations.
Love it, yeah.
I wonder if he ever gets into these antics with other dogs. Like, maybe the Doo family isn't his only, like, beef he has.
He's got beef with just multiple dog families.
Yes.
Like, just on the day-to-day, he's at a different dog's house every day.
Well, he's already, like, a shit person anyway, because, like, how do you, a man, have a personal vendetta against this one dog family?
How do you, a man?
But now you have this wide array of signs for these situations and all of this equipment in your dog-catching vehicle.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish I could explain that. After the free pizza, he goes fishing.
Yes, and you know, I think this is probably the next day because Shaggy brings out the bathtub again.
Yeah, that's true.
And he said he was going to try again tomorrow, so I think this is the next day.
It is implied that Buster McMutt is there like every day trying to just get Scooby.
Yep. So he uses the fishing rod to try and nab him. He latches onto the lawnmower, and Scooby is like, should I?
I love that. Scooby goes, I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to.
So he turns it on. It gets Buster pulled. He, like, slingshots off of some clothesline in the backyard, and he goes into outer space.
I do like that when Scooby lands in the bathtub, he just takes the bath. Like, he's smiling, and Shaggy's rubbing his head with the thing. That was cute. It was just like, okay, today I'll take a bath.
Right. Well, I mean, now he knows that Buster's in outer space. So,
yeah, he's safe.
You know, he's safe, and he's like, you know what? Fine, I'll just go ahead and do this bathtub now. But then Buster's floating on a satellite, declares he will never stop in his, endeavors to try and capture Scooby, and then a plane or a rocket.
I think it was just. I thought it was a rocket.
Either one, they just slide into the scene on the side, and then Scooby pops up. And he goes, ah ha ha, and, yeah. Yep. There's that episode.
Great life lessons there for the kids. We got a long word. We got a big word for 6-year-olds. And then we also got a life lesson of, I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to.
I'm going to.
Yep. What a great episode for children to watch.
Right. So that was Catcher on the Sly. Yep. Ready to move on to the longer one of the 3 episodes, being the Ghost of Mrs Shushman.
Yes.
So before we even begin, I want to address my unique fun fact for this episode.
Okay.
Before we really delve into it. Last week, you brought up the point of it saying Shushman, not Shusham.
Yeah.
And there's something weird going on. So the ghost in the episode is named Miss Shushman. Like, that's her name, is Shushman.
Mm-hmm.
But the name of the episode, according to the title card, is Shusham.
Yeah.
And everywhere else that I'm looking, it says Shushman, though. Like, I'm pretty sure Scoobypedia said Shushman, like, for the ghost profile, but the episode was Shusham. But then when you look at the DVD, because I have the series on DVD, when you look at the DVD copy, the episode says Shushmin. So all around, it's just not consistent. But I'm going to stick to what the title card said for the episode, being Shusham. I acknowledge that the character's name is Shushman, and we will call her Shushman. Episode, though, is Shusham. So that's what I'm calling it.
Yep.
So I have a premise for the Ghost of Mrs Shushman coming from Scoobypedia as well. The ghost of the librarian from the old Coolsville Library is after Shaggy for a missing book, Pizza Parrot and the Butterbean Bunnies, and wants it in before midnight.
Dun dun dun.
I just love the idea of this librarian having such a vendetta against this 12-year-old child.
That's what I was saying. Like, between Shaggy and Scooby, like, they have actual enemies.
Yeah, you know, I never thought about it like that. And in all three of these episodes, too. It happens, like, you know, with Buster McMuttmauler. It happens with the waiter and the fictional Waitro in the next episode. Like, they just kind of don't have really good relationships all around with people.
They're not people.
The episode begins with, you know, Shaggy's usual narration about how on a stormy day they're all just, you know, reading books and just hanging out with each other. Although I don't recommend the kids being in the treehouse during a lightning storm.
Yeah, I wasn't about that, but I'll let it go. But I will say I liked that they had a refrigerator in the treehouse.
Right.
So that implies that there's just, like, a whole bunch of electrical wires, like, going into the house.
Yeah.
And they run out of food, obviously. Scooby and Shaggy's fix for this is not to get more food, but just they need more refrigerators.
More refrigerators. I wrote that down, too.
Yeah. So no food equals more refrigerators.
They don't need more food.
We don't need more food, just more refrigerators.
Daphne criticizes their reading selection because Shaggy's reading the Commander Cool comics.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Daphne, I don't think I even saw you reading.
Yeah, also, like, I like that Fred's thing, too, is, oh, yeah, put that crap down and read the official National Exaggerators Mole Man coloring book. And I was like, Fred, so you're reading a fucking coloring book. Like,
I feel like that's worse.
Yeah, I feel like you're not... Like, at least a comic book has actual substance. What the fuck does a coloring book have, sir?
Book. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't write that down.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so she criticizes that. Now, they hear a knock on the door, and Shaggy and Scooby instantly think pizza delivery. So they must have already, requested pizza despite them running out of food at the treehouse.
So they knew they were going to run out of food. That's what I'm assuming. Their pizza selection, though.
So Shaggy says he wants the olive and peanut butter pizza.
But it's okay, because Scooby can have the one that has coleslaw and ice cream.
I don't know which one sounds worse.
Well, I would just like to point out that last season we had to eat a peanut butter and ice cream pizza.
Yes.
So it is now at least canon that they've been eating peanut butter and ice cream on pizza since they were children.
I hate it.
So what we ate was their nostalgia.
Yes. And I hate it.
Which is just disgusting. It's so gross. I asked my mom, I was like, if you had to pick between one of these two pizzas, what would you pick? And she said they both sound god-awful, but she'd at least go for the coleslaw and ice cream. I don't know why she would pick that. I told her that was
the olive and the peanut butter, I think.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Is I would rather olive and peanut butter because we know what happens when you put ice cream on pizza. Everything gets soggy, and coleslaw is just going to make that worse.
Well, aside from that, because I don't like olives and I don't like coleslaw, but I think between the two, I think I would prefer the olives.
I think I could swallow an olive without tasting it.
Oh no, I'll be fine with the olives. I'll tolerate it. And the peanut butter, at least I like peanut butter.
Yeah.
And the ice cream and coleslaw is going to be awful on top of pizza.
I feel like peanut butter on top of pizza, just as itself, wouldn't be death, but ice cream definitely is.
I think the peanut butter was the least offensive thing about the pizza we ate last season.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Right. But it turns out it is not pizza either way, regardless of what they were going to get toppings-wise on it, because who actually appears at the door is the Ghost of Mrs Shushman. She is the librarian of the old Coolsville Library, now deceased, and she is there to get the book that Shaggy never returned to the library when they were younger children.
Yeah. She blows on them.
I thought that was weird. I don't know why that had to happen, but evidently that is one of her many abilities. Is
it was
blowing
so weird
on people. Who else did that? Someone else recently did that.
I'd have to look through my notes, but yeah,
it was the mantis monster.
Yeah,
Vulture's Claw, mantis monster. Yep, he was the one that did.
Blew on
so this is just a thing that happens, evidently.
Apparently, people just get blowed on.
And I don't like it.
That sounds bad, but I don't like that. Yeah, no, I don't like it. Yeah, she's there for the book. She yells at them. They do get her to go away because they grab her book and say that she ripped a page, and so Scooby's gonna whoever Scooby is trying, like, pretending to be.
He pretended to be Mrs. Dewberry.
Okay.
Yes.
And Mrs. Dewberry was gonna have to revoke Mrs. Shushman's library card.
Yes.
So she leaves, because that's important for a ghost.
Well, she did demand, though, that the book be returned to the library by midnight.
I want to know why there was a timeline.
I don't know, given the motivation here being that the book that she wants is just a rare book.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably because she doesn't want... Like, okay, how about this? Would you rather be having to escapade as a ghost librarian terrorizing kids for one night, or, like, over the course of many nights?
That makes sense, I guess.
I think I would prefer just one night, so if I can set a timeline, you know, and...
Yeah. We're not dragging this out. Just
I don't want to drag this out. Like, I'm kind of over following these kids over this book.
It's one day, you're already over it. You're just like, can you just bring me this book, please?
Right. So, I like that when the ghost leaves, we get a little backstory here per Fred's request. So, when they were real tiny, I like that Shaggy had his hair over his eyes.
It was really cute, yeah.
He's sitting in a wagon. It's being pulled by Scooby. I thought it was just absolutely adorable.
I loved it.
And Shaggy's like, thank you, Mrs. Shushman, for letting us take this book. And then she yells at him, being like, no talking in the library. And Scooby goes to lick the sign to say thank you, like, oh, I'm sorry. And then she says, no dog slurping either. And they're both just like, ugh. And they leave. So then at one point, Shaggy accidentally set the book, or he dropped the book on top of a pile of bones that Scooby was going to bury in the backyard. Yeah. And the book evidently got buried in the backyard.
With it, yeah.
I like that after just all these years, though, they knew where the book was and didn't do anything about it. Like, I get the logic of, well, the library closed, so there was no point in trying to return it because the library closed. That I get, because I have plenty of movie rentals that I owe back to Family Video, and those Family Videos are now gone.
They're gone because of you.
They're because of me, yes. So, I get that line of logic. I just don't get the line of logic of, let's just leave it in the backyard. I know where it is.
Well, they know that it's in the backyard, but they don't know specifically where.
Yeah, but they still left it there. They were so excited when they remembered the book. They're like, oh my god, that's such a great book. And it's in the backyard.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's evidently been years. So, later in the episode, they dig up the book and they find it. But here I am thinking, it's been underground, not even, protected by, in a box or anything for so many years. There has to be so much damage to that book. It's probably not even decipherable.
Not too much of it. Yeah, I don't know. I assume it wouldn't be worth much as a rare book now that it's completely damaged, but the ghost wouldn't know where it was. So I get why the ghost is still trying to come after them. But,
I agree. I'm just thinking she's not going to be impressed with the results when she receives the book.
They're going to bring her this dirty ass rotten book and she's going to be like, fuck.
The book titled Pizza Parrot and the Butterbean Bunnies.
I want to know why it's rare.
And maybe there was just a limited edition set of it. I don't know. Maybe it's the first edition.
That they just let children take out of the library?
Well, the library never really had any intentions of selling the book for a value or anything like that. But when the library closed,
yeah, I don't know.
They don't plan on that, I guess. So I'm not mad about it.
I'm not going to try and go into deep detail about it.
So they find a book that Mrs. Shushman left behind, the one that Scooby was criticizing, and they discover that it is from the Binder's bookstore. So they decide to go there to find clues. Although I'm wondering why the name Bernice Binders triggered Scooby and Shaggy. Did you notice that part? Because they were just like, no, Mrs. Bernice Binders, and Fred's like, do you know her? No.
Yeah. I think it's just the trauma of going into another bookstore.
With the potential of taking this book and then a ghost is going to come after you 5 years later after they die.
Now watch out, Derek, because the owner of Family Video
is gonna come
in
after
5 years might show up.
We want your Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix DVD back. I swear, like, if I look at my bookshelf right now, I probably have, like, 5 DVDs from Family Video that I have never returned.
Derek, it's so bad.
They're from different Family Videos.
I know!
So...
They're gonna listen to this and be like, we gotta find this kid.
Find this guy. So, they get to Binder's bookstore. Scooby and Shaggy are immediately not vibing with this place. But it looks like just a regular bookstore. But
it looks chill.
But they're just like, it looks creepy and They walk into the store, and Bernice Binders is on a ladder, and she has a weird little grin. Did you notice that?
No.
She had like a look on her face, but then when she pops down from the ladder, she lands on her table, starts flapping her arms like a chicken, and goes, ah! Like, kind of like screaming, kind of.
Yeah.
And all I wrote was, Bernice needs to stop.
Her excuse for acting like a psychopath is that she thought that it was the ghost of Mrs. Shushman coming back for this book.
But Fred called out, and it's like, hello. Like,
yeah. Now, my
help?
thing is, does she react this way to every single customer that comes in? Because that's a lot.
That is a lot. I mean, Shaggy and Scooby were kind of over it for a moment as well. While she was screaming, them two, like, stale-faced each other. And then they held up their eek signs, and then they reacted.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was
that.
not real. They faked that part.
Yeah, they were just like, sure, I'm scared.
So, I noted that after Bernice says that, you know, Mrs. Shushman had come there looking for a book that she didn't have from the bunch that she had bought from the library, Scooby and Shaggy, like, pull out, like, wanted posters for themselves. And I'm like, were those put up by other people, or did they have those handy?
Okay, I truly hope that they're put up by other people. Because that goes to show that they have beef with everybody.
They're just menaces in this
They
society.
are. Like, it turned, like, you know what? That would make sense for future series where people are like, they don't like the gang and they don't like whatever. It's because Scooby and Shaggy have just been menaces since they were children. So people are like, oh, now they're grown up and they're fucking terrorizing the whole city trying to solve this so-called mystery. Like, bro, go home. Like, nobody likes you. Like, I think that should be a canon, that they've been wanted since they were children.
You texted me about this note, so...
Oh, yeah. So, at one point, Velma is, like, filming. She's got a little camera out, and she's recording. And then, after she does that, because she's recording Bernice, and then, all of a sudden, she'll, like, take her magnifying glass, and she's, like, studying Daphne, and then she turns back and is studying Bernice again. And later on, when we meet... Yeah, when we meet another suspect, which we'll come to, she's, like, recording them with a microphone. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote down at this point, and I said, what is Velma filming? But I think what it is normally, during a normal Scooby-Doo episode, we'll, like, rewind and rewatch a scene. Well, and then Velma will be like, and Velma will be like, oh, this is where I saw this, this, and this. And I think that's what she's doing here. Though we don't utilize it in this episode, I think that's what it is.
We do utilize it.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, we do, yeah. But
okay.
I just thought it was interesting that we are seeing it in this instance, and it's honestly making me wonder if it's happened before and we just didn't see it.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I want to note it so that when we watch future episodes, because this is the only episode that we actually, like, see Velma in, because in the Catcher in the Sly, it's just the two of them, and then in the Wrath of Wario, the only time we see the gang is in that, like, Dreams...
Waitro.
Wario.
Yeah.
Yep. I said that with such confidence.
Yeah, you did. But you're right, though. She's not doing anything really in that episode either, so...
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, like, has that happened in other episodes we reviewed and just never saw it? Because I would not be surprised if it did.
I wouldn't either, and then it's because Velma is so quiet in this whole series, so you don't really notice her. She's kind of just, like, in the background. And normally she's just doing her thing, and then she solves the mystery. So, yeah, I wonder how often she actually did record and we just missed it.
Well, I'm also always missing just how often it happens where she's not talking for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure she didn't actually say a word in this episode until, like, they dug up the bones and she laughed when she gave Scooby back her, like, his favorite bone.
Yeah.
She talked later on, but I'm pretty sure, like, that's, like, the first time we heard her speak.
Yeah, she doesn't really talk.
So I made a note about Mrs. Shushman's background. So it was Bernice that says that she disappeared not long after the library closed, the old Coolsville one. And, like, no one knew what happened to her, and then this ghost appears. And I'm like, I hope she's okay.
Yeah,
like,
where is she actually?
Because we don't learn whether or not she's actually dead or not. And I'm also wondering, because Pup Named Scooby-Doo evidently has established a history of ghosts of people who are still alive, hence Buster McMuttmauler,
Mm-hmm.
because he wasn't dead. And there was a whole episode in season 2 of a ghost of his character. What if she's alive and she's well and she does not give a fuck about the book that's in this episode? Like,
She probably doesn't.
she probably doesn't care at all.
She's got a job at another library, probably like a town or two over.
No, I hope she's not even working. I hope she's, like, retired and she lives in Florida and she gets to read books on her front porch in peace, not thinking about Shaggy Rogers and Pizza Parrot and the Butterbean Bunnies. Like, I really hope that's not what's keeping her up at night in her golden years.
I hope that she's down in Florida, but she still gets, like, the National Exaggerator. And in, like, the next newspaper, she's reading it, and it says something about her ghosts terrorizing, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, she's just sitting there like, thank fuck I left, dude. Like, what was that town?
Of this happening in this series now.
I hope she reads that and she's just like, thank God I retired down here.
It's like one of those disturbing stories where, like, you hear that, like, an obituary has already been written about you. Like, because that's also happened to, like, famous people. That happens to famous people all the time. That's awful.
Yeah, I would hate that. I would hate if somebody was just like, yeah, I wrote an obituary for you. I'd be like, why?
Why?
Am I gonna die soon? Do you know something I don't know?
All in all, we really just don't know what happened to this woman.
Nope.
She could be dead. She might not be. So we transition over to the gang going back to Shaggy's house. They are digging up in his backyard looking for the book. I made a note there is no grass in this backyard.
Yep.
And we know there was grass. We saw it in the previous episode.
So what happened?
What happened to it? They do find Scooby's favorite bone.
Right next to the book?
Mm-hmm. The book was found as well.
So I feel bad that his favorite bone has been missing for that many years.
Well, you know, the dogs, they always hide their bones for a later date. So It wasn't that he lost it. He's just been waiting. And now he's found it. Now he's just excited about it.
Yep. I do want to say, like, the little moments that we get with just Scooby and Velma are always really cute and, like, wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the whole gang walks away, and Velma picks up the bone, and Scooby comes back for it, and so he gives Velma this big old kiss, and then she laughs, and he, like, picks her up and runs. Mm-hmm. And it was just, like, a cute little wholesome moment. Right. I always like those.
Agreed. Now they're heading to the library, so they're going to return the book to the ghost. And when they get to the library, I had a few notes here. So, for one, lightning just has to strike the library because Scooby-Doo.
Of course. Yep.
We meet my most favorite character when it comes to name, given the time period we live in. Her name is Rona Lickton.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Miss Rona.
Let's just call her that, Miss Rona. And when Miss Rona confronts the gang, Fred's like, who do you think you're talking to? We're the Scooby-Doo Detective Agency. Fred, shut the fuck up.
Fred, you're 12. I do like that Scooby and Shaggy hide at first, and then they hear her voice, and they're like, oh, no, it's just Rona. It's fine. Like,
because they have a history with her, too.
Yeah.
But I like to think that their history with her is a little bit more personal.
100%.
Because they know her by name.
Yeah. They're like, oh no, that's Rona. We don't give a shit about her.
So she used to run the Coolsville stamp collecting club.
Yeah.
I'm tired of stamps coming up in Scooby-Doo so much.
I do absolutely love it, though, where she's like, I'm the ex-president, and, like, the reason that the stamp club had to close was because the library closed. And then they had to hold it outside. And then it started raining. And so now they have to wear their stamp collection. And there's so many issues here. And Daphne points it out, too, where she's like, why didn't you just, like, cancel it for that week or something? And she was like, oh. I'm like, or you could have put your stamps in a collection book
or just,
instead of wearing it.
Or instead of being at the library or outside, go to a different building.
Yeah, we know that there's Binder's Books.
Center.
Yeah, there's, you know, if you want to be in a book place still, there's Binder's Books right down the road. You could go over to somebody's house and you could just do that, like a book club. You could go to somebody's house.
You can very well even just rent a room at the local community center. That's what those are for.
Yep. I know that the internet was up and coming at this time, but still, you could have, like, had a little, like, group on, like, made a little Facebook group or something, and definitely could have, like,
they could have
posted
worked
them
around these issues, is the point.
Yeah, you definitely didn't have to be outside wearing your stamp collection on your clothes.
Because she has them just all around her. And she blames all of this on Shaggy and Scooby.
Oh, personally.
Because, well, yeah. She said that, you know, people like Shaggy and Scooby are the reason why the library closed. And that's what led to the club's demise and da-da-da.
So people who love Family Video, it's all Derek's fault.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
It's people like Derek.
I'm going to wait for the mean emails. That Groovy Scoobcast at gmail.com. Although, I wrote down that when Rona mentioned the club, Fred's like, I wonder what the Coolsville Stamp Collecting Club does. And Daphne's like, maybe collect stamps, Fred? And he goes, wow, Daphne, you're getting really good at figuring this kind of stuff out. And she goes, it's that Jones genius must be catching.
I worry about Fred sometimes. I love him.
The sarcasm from Daphne right here, though.
Yeah, this is where I fall in love with Daphne. I
don't love her version of her character in this show.
No, she's very mean.
This was a funny moment for her.
Yeah.
We also learn that Rona is going to be in an upcoming article in the National Exaggerator. The article being Coolsville Stamp Gal Wears Bigfoot's Stamp Collection. I want some clarification here because the article that she shows, it has a picture of Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So do the stamps belong to Bigfoot and she's just wearing the stamps for him? Or is it maybe like a zoom in on a picture of Bigfoot on a stamp and she has like a collection of Bigfoot stamps?
Can I put one out there?
Sure.
What if she's Bigfoot?
We just blew this all wide open.
Yeah. Yep. I think she's Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. Rona Laketon is Bigfoot, guys.
Yep. Miss Rona is Bigfoot.
Miss Rona, yes. So they enter the library with no issue.
No, I have a couple issues here. Hold on. So my issue is, first off, this place is supposed to be like closed and abandoned. It's done, right? So first off, why is the door unlocked? Okay. Second off, why are there still so many books in this library?
Right, because I thought they were sold to the bookstore. I thought they were sold to the bookstore.
So, well, because we know Miss Binder, or whatever her name is, buys a handful of the books. Because she does say she buys some books. But normally, all of the books are sold off. Okay? Think about, like, Blockbuster Movie. Think, you know, like, they all sell off everything. Because they're not going to exist anymore.
Yeah.
You don't just leave, like, so that was my big issue, was I was just like, why are there still so many books here?
Yeah.
Also, that kind of implies to me that Miss Shushman has already gone through each individual book just to make sure that it wasn't there.
Oh, the Pizza Parrot book?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, there was a list of people who had outstanding book accounts.
Yeah.
That was on the desk.
And Shaggy was circled.
Shaggy was circled.
But I wonder, because sometimes, you know, people just forget. Maybe he did return it, and they just didn't say that he returned it.
I don't. Well,
so
no, that's not the case because Shaggy.
Because Shaggy did
found
still
the
have
book in
it,
the backyard.
but I wonder, like, if Shaggy had returned it, and all of it, like, what if, like, she showed up and was just like, give me this book, and he's like, yeah, I returned that already. Like, what would have happened?
I don't know.
Because there's still 1,000 books in there. Would she
There
have
are
just
a lot
been
of books
like,
in that library still,
so would she have just been like, oh, my bad, and then they could have at least avoided it for another couple of weeks.
Right.
They could have had time to find it and then gone to the library and been like, Miss Shushman, my bad, here's the book.
I do want to make a note that I am proud of Scooby and Shaggy in this episode. They solved the mystery. Mm-hmm. Velma didn't even figure it out.
No, she flat out was just like, yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, basically, they find a clue on the desk. We'll elaborate about the clue in a moment. But they're just like, oh my gosh, so we know who it is. And then the ghost attacks. So, they go through the antics of the ghost, chasing them all around the library. My favorite gag being the book that Shaggy pulls out of the shelf that reads as 101 Ways to Catch a Ghost Librarian. I feel like that's something I need.
And then she was also just like he was like, oh wait, we have to finish this book real quick. And she was like, okay. And waited. It was so polite. Mm-hmm. Very polite.
But when Shaggy and Scooby use the knowledge they learned from that 101 Ghost Librarian's book to capture the ghost, the method being shaking the bookshelf until it has all the books fall on the ghost.
And shake.
They unmask her to find out that it's Bernice Binder. We learn that she was after Scooby and Shaggy because she wanted the rare book so that she can, make a lot of money selling it in her bookstore. And the way that they knew it was her was because she had a napkin from Scooby when she attacked them at the treehouse.
Yeah.
That she used to fan off Scooby in the bookstore. And then one of her bookmarks was in a book that was in the library. And when I actually did the second watch for the notes, I actually watched for this, and these things did happen. Like the flashbacks they did, it did happen. And that's one of my favorite things, is when there are clues that you can see, and it helps you figure it out on your own, and you can figure it out at the end. Love that. That made me really like this mystery. Although I don't like that she kept the napkin. I feel like she could have thrown that away.
I feel like there was a lot of ways for her to get away with this, and she was just very lazy about it.
Yeah, she was a lazy person about it.
For sure. So it ends with them getting a cookbook from the library, which Shaggy says, like, oh, now we're going to be able to make a bunch of different pizzas. Mm-hmm. This personally upset me because we have been personally victimized by the pizzas that they make in the future.
I did not think about that. I was actually thinking about it more optimistically, being, I'm really glad they're learning some new skills and recipes. I'm glad they're being productive with their reading.
No, because this book is personally why we had to eat pizza and peanut butter on a fucking pizza last season, and also had to put chocolate sauce on a pizza, I think in our first season.
No,
So we have been personally victimized by this specific cookbook.
A good elaboration there.
Yeah.
Moving on to our last short of today, being The Wrath of Waitro. Here is a premise for the episode coming from Scoobypedia. The guys stop for a snack, but soon find out that they can't afford to pay for it. What would Commander Cool and Mellow Mutt do to stop the evil waiter Waitro from getting them? So I don't like that premise just kind of completely leaves out the fact that they enter a dream sequence, but they do.
Yeah.
Bringing back the dream sequences again, which I know you love.
Yeah. No, there was two. So, okay, I will say one thing with this specific dream sequence. I didn't hate it because they didn't use the dream sequence to, get out of the consequences.
Okay.
Because what we learn is that they're doing this dream sequence while they're washing the dishes to be able to pay for it. So this one, I kind of took the dream sequence as a way to pass time while they're washing dishes. Right. So I didn't hate this one as much because I hate when they use it just to oh, this episode didn't happen. It was all a dream.
Yeah, right. Like in the Mark of Scooby.
Yeah.
So the episode begins with Scooby and Shaggy walking on a sidewalk in the city, and they're going about how it's time for their in-between snack.
Yeah.
Which I can relate to. And Another thing I can relate to is Scooby's belly sound like a pterodactyl. So,
yeah.
Yep. They spot a restaurant that has a food buffet going on, and they have a sign that just says, food, food, food. And Shaggy says, I like food, Scoob, but I like food, food, food even more.
Which is, I can relate to that
Very
one.
relatable.
I don't like that there weren't any prices put out. So, like, how am I supposed to know how expensive everything was? You should be, like, $4 buffet or whatever, you know?
Right.
$23 for the food.
They annihilate the buffet, though.
Oh, of course.
You know, naturally.
I do love that, okay, this is supposed to be an in-between snack.
Yes.
Okay? And they ate so much food. And when Shaggy says, like, when was the last time we ate like this, the response is breakfast. So shouldn't this be, like, lunch and not a snack?
No, because it goes breakfast, in between... No, it's breakfast, snack, which they must have missed today, and then it's in between snack, then snack, and then lunch.
I assume that they... Wait, so 1, 2, 3...
So this should be their third time eating today, but it's actually their second.
So they eat, like, 9 times a day?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that, too.
Now, my thing is technically we're supposed to eat, like, 7 small snacks a day, right? Instead of, like, 3 big meals.
Don't
That's
ask
what
me,
they
but
say to, like,
go
lose
for
weight
it.
or whatever. I don't know. But, so 9 giant meals a day, I feel, should also equate to that.
Good luck with your results when you try that, Shannon. I like
my 300-pound journey.
Honestly. I like that the waiter is already kind of being a jackass before he even knows whether or not Scooby and Shaggy can pay for the food. Like, he already had, like, a smug look on his face when he walked up to them. And I'm just like, dude, what's your issue? Like, okay, if they can't pay for the food, they can't pay for the food, and that's a reason to be mad. But they have not indicated to you yet that they are unable to pay. So, like, you're not going to get a good tip when you act like this, sir.
Okay, I agree with that. But also from experience, I will say when, like, 2 kids walk into a restaurant and eat a lot of food, you're kind of already anticipating them, like, not giving you a good tip because they're children. So you assume, like, their parents gave them a $20 bill or whatever and just said, go get lunch.
I get that, but
yeah,
you still don't act like shit to them.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, from experience, I've had this happen to me when I was younger, but I also agree, like, it shouldn't be a thing, but I know that it is.
Shaggy starts a shaking fit, and then Scooby does. And it's not because they're upset or anything. It's them entering their dream sequence.
And that's literally... He's like, what's going on? He's like, oh, we're just entering a dream sequence. Which, again, they acknowledge that it's a dream sequence, so I'm not overly upset. Like, they full-heartedly were just like, this isn't going to be real.
Too.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
That wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
So... In the dream world, we see Commander Cool and Mellow Mutt. They are, just scouting the city that they live in, and they see a suspicious food truck. So we discover that it is being driven by Waitro, the cater waiter, and he's out to make the city of Coolsville like his customer slaves, basically, so they can eat all his food and make a ton of money. So he tests it out by meeting up with Mayor Blake, because Daphne in this dream sequence is the mayor.
He tries to give her a chocolate-covered octopus on a stick.
She said squid, but it looked like an octopus, yes.
Yeah.
Not pleased.
I hated that.
So then he goes on to say that he has an aromasizer beam or something in his van, or his truck. It looks like a van. And based on what we see and how it works, what I'm going to say is that basically when he turns it on, it makes people smell amazing food, even when they see nasty food. So he has like a dirty sock on bread, and he's like going, who wants it? And everybody's like just throwing out their money, because evidently they can smell really good food and they can't use their eyes and see what it actually is. But
I don't know.
I guess their sense of smell is just that overpowering.
I guess if something smelled super, super good, I couldn't relate to that. I don't know. I feel like if you handed me a sock and it smelled like strawberries and, whatever, I'd be like, I'm okay, though. Like, I know that this is a dirty sock.
Yeah, you would think. We cut over to the Cool Cave.
Yep.
What do you think of the Cool Cave?
Okay, I will say I liked that they used Commander Cool because that's the comic book that they were reading in the last episode, so I did like that tie-in.
Well, that's an ongoing character in this show because that's also the comic book series that they dealt with Stinkweed. When we did that episode.
So I do like that it's like a reoccurring theme. So the Cool Cave I loved that. I liked the car with the cool fuel as well.
Yes.
I like everything just has cool in it.
Cool. Yeah, everything's just super cool. So they're testing out their Commander Cool food magnet.
I want one.
I like that it comes back later, though. It's not just like a throwaway gag here.
Yeah.
So they get a call from Mayor Blake. She informs them, that Waitrose, the cater waiter, is terrorizing the city. And before she can really even elaborate on who is the culprit today, Shaggy and Scooby, throw out a bunch of names of prior villains that they have fought.
Yeah.
Including Couchman, Shoehorn Woman, and Silver Pickle.
I want those episodes.
I want to see these interactions. So they are off to try and find Waitro's hideout, and they're using the Cool mobile computer to do it in the Cool Mobile. I'm going to assume it's called. They never actually said Cool Mobile, but I'm going to call it that.
I assume that's what it is.
Right.
Or the cool car or something, yeah.
The computer indicates that this old abandoned cooking school / auto repair shop, formerly named Bacon Bolt, is his hideout. No wonder it's abandoned, given what kind of
loved when they first busted into it, that there was a can of gas surrounded by a bunch of sugar, and then there were old tires on top of it. And that was my favorite thing. I was just like, what?
No wonder this place is shut down.
How many times do you think that people accidentally put sugar in the gas tank instead of
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many times did they get those items mixed up?
Again, no wonder this place is closed and
Definitely.
abandoned.
Yeah.
So we see the dream version of Velma. She is apparently a minion or an employee of Waitrose, and she's doing dishes.
The only thing she says is just mean boss.
Yeah, right. And Waitrose brings in a stack of paper plates for her to clean.
Yeah. It was so sad.
I feel very bad for her. And Waitrose also says that he loves being a supervillain.
Yeah. To be honest, being a supervillain doesn't always sound that bad.
Okay. What kind of supervillain would you be?
I don't know yet. Ask me next week. I might have an idea.
Okay.
But
we'll put a poll on Twitter. And...
Yeah, what kind of supervillain would we be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, you. I don't want to be a supervillain. You can be the supervillain.
Would you be the superhero that would take me down?
Likely, just because I hate you, but yeah. So, when Commander Cool and Mellow burst into the room and, they face off against Waitrose, they kind of have a similar thing going on as to what they had in the Vulture's Claw episode, where they have a book of traps that they use to capture the monsters. So he says that he wants Scooby to use C3906.5. And that would involve them using their utility belts to make an unbreakable band around Waitrose. Scooby mistakenly uses C3908 3/4, which is tie him up with a hose and put him in a cage.
Which worked.
Yeah, Mellow successfully did that one. And Shaggy's like, no, that's not what I said. So Scooby has to
lets him go,
and then they go to use Shaggy's plan, and then it doesn't work because the belts are supposed to also hold up their pants.
Yeah, I was really upset. I was frustrated. I was actually frustrated because I was just like, you had him,
right? And
then you let him go, but that's okay.
Waitrose uses the aromatizer to capture them and puts them in a vat that's being filled with chocolate sauce that they end up eating to escape because naturally.
Okay, so I love that they ate all the chocolate and they jump out and they're fat, and then they burp and now they're skinny.
Oh yeah, because they said they've been practicing that as well.
I need to practice that. I don't know how that is done, but I'm interested. Tell me more.
We see the food magnet reappear, And Shaggy says, all right, now we'll use our official Commander Cool magnet launcher. It's just a slingshot.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking slingshot and a magnet. And he launches it. It lands on Waitro's platter that he's holding, I think.
Yeah.
And it activates and it just brings a bunch of food to surround him and he gets captured by a big amount of food.
I wonder what number plan that was.
Well, it wasn't C3906.5, so...
we know that.
We know that. The dream sequence ends, and we now see Scooby and Shaggy are washing dishes because they were not able to pay for their meal.
Okay.
Rightfully
now,
so.
Yes. Now, what I get here, that kind of was just like, gave me a headache, was that they're washing dishes because they can't pay for their meal. And then the waiter comes and he goes, hey, you washed your fair share of dishes and then some, like, here's some money, I'm gonna pay you. The reason they were washing dishes was because they couldn't pay for their food, but you're gonna pay them. Okay.
Well, they did more than their fair share.
I guess. And then, of course, they go right back to eating. And yeah.
Natural.
So I was just like, okay. I wonder if they ate just enough to be able to pay for it, or if that was just a never-ending cycle.
Child labor. Well, that was the Wrath of Waitro. So I guess we can just go one by one and just name our ratings for each one and talk about them. So what did you give The Catcher on the Sly?
I gave it a 4.
Okay.
It was not my favorite. I didn't like it. It was so short. You didn't really get, like, invested in it. Mm-hmm. Not that, but I didn't love it. Okay. I didn't, like, hate it, but it was a 4 for me.
I gave it a 4 as well.
Okay.
It's not that I hated it myself. I think that it's just because it's not a normal Scooby-Doo format where it, has a mystery or some kind of a supernatural element to it. And it's just so short, there's not a lot of development to it. I think it did well with who's in it and what's going on. It just didn't feel very Scooby-Doo to me. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, I didn't get, like, invested. It was so short, I couldn't enjoy it. So
what about the Ghost of Mrs Shushman?
I gave that one a 6.
Okay.
That one was a bit longer. I did like it. I really liked just, like, and again, like, I don't know if it was in all of them and we just missed it, but I really liked being able to see Velma filming and, like, doing those little things. So it was just, like, the little bit of detail that went into it. I did like, I think that you said where it was just like there were hints in there that we could solve it ourselves. So I did like that bit.
Yeah. I gave it an 8.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one. I think that it had a really good, that's something I'm kind of wondering is if a Pup Named Scooby-Doo episodes would wow me a little more if they were a little shorter.
Okay.
I don't know. That's maybe
I think that this format, I think the 10-minute format worked pretty well.
I thought it did, and I thought like a lot happened in this episode.
Yeah.
For how much time it was allotted. The mystery was pretty solid, really small scale. Like I said, yeah, there were clues that you could easily see and kind of point to who the culprit was. You could figure it out on your own before whatever character spilled it for you.
This episode specifically, like, made me feel like it was a kids show.
Yes.
Like, it was a good kids show. This one I would want my kids to watch. It was good.
Well, it's a relatable thing, too. It's like, how many times did you ever return a book to the library? So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this one as well, so I gave it an 8. What about Wrath of Waitro?
I gave that one a 5.
I did, too.
Like, it was pretty neutral. We know how I feel about dream sequences, so immediately I knew that it wasn't going to be my favorite episode.
Yeah.
But it had some funny parts in there, so it wasn't a hit, but it wasn't a miss.
Okay. Well, with all of our scores added up and averaged out for this trio, we are going to award Catcher on the Sly, Ghost of Mrs Shushman, and The Wrath of Waitro a 5.5 out of 10 on the Scooby Snackometer. I think that Ghost of Mrs Shushman is probably the one that just really saved this trio when it came to their score, so I'm good with that.
Yep.
So I told you guys at the beginning that I had a bunch of fun facts I wanted to share today. Pretty much all of these I actually just pulled from Scoobypedia because I just thought they were really unique for what these episodes were. So, for starters, the Catcher on the Sly episode, the one with Buster and Mutt, that is the shortest Scooby-Doo episode ever.
I don't doubt that.
At 4 minutes, it is the shortest Scooby-Doo episode ever.
Okay.
It also was supposed to be like based on a classic Tom and Jerry type short, which explains the short runtime and the antics that we saw in episode. This is also the episode that has the least number of characters in it. Those characters being Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Buster and Mutt.
Yeah.
It is one of 2 episodes in the Pup Named Scooby-Doo series that did not have Fred, the other one being Wrath of Waitro. Fred wasn't in that dream sequence at all. And it's the only one that does not have Daphne and Velma.
Okay.
In Pup Named Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
This is also one of 2 episodes, also being with Wrath of Waitro, that did not have a mystery in this series. And moving on from that one, just another note that I wanted to make about the Ghost of Mrs Shushman episode. That is the only episode in A Pup Named Scooby-Doo that has a female monster.
Oh.
All the other monsters have been portrayed as men or no gender reveal, but this one is blatantly a woman, and it's the only one that is.
Okay.
So, lots of interesting fun facts for this set that we got.
Yeah,
today.
this set had a lot of, like, onlys.
Yes, a lot of onlys, and really unique experience, I think, for Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
So, my favorite one there just being that the Buster episode was the shortest one ever.
Ever, yeah.
Like, that one just, I think, tops it all for me. So, next week, we're going to be moving on to What's New Scooby-Doo. Shannon, would you like to randomize what we're going to be watching next week?
Sure.
Alrighty, here we go.
So next week, we are going to be watching Lights, Camera, Mayhem.
Ooh. Have not seen this one in a very long time. Here is a premise for the episode coming from Scoobypedia. When the faceless phantom drives the stuntmen off a movie set, the gang volunteers to replace them.
All right.
Yep. So that will be what we're watching next week. In Scooby-Doo news, I just have 3 things to mention. One that we mentioned 2 weeks ago being that we moved over to Buzzsprout for our podcast hosting site. So definitely be watching for some updates going on our website and the way that we share episodes with you guys. We're still going to be getting everything out to you at the same rate that we do anyway, but there may just be some changes to how we do it. Wanted to remind everybody about Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, the complete first season DVD set coming out next month on January 18th or 19th, as well as Scooby-Doo, The Sword and the Scoob, the newest direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movie, which has a release date now of February 23rd of 2021. Ooh. So be on the lookout for all of those. If you'd like to talk to us about anything we talked about today, being A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, What's New Scooby-Doo, any of the news or fun facts we shared, you can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at That Groovy Scoobcast and Twitter at Groovy Scoobcast.
You can also check us out on YouTube at That Groovy Scoobcast. You can check out our website, www.thatgroovyscoobcast.com, or shoot us an email at thatgroovyscoobcast@gmail.com.
And this is our last episode for 2020.
I know.
So we hope that everybody had a great holiday. And
be safe on New Year's.
Be safe on New Year's. And let's all really hope that 2021 is better. With that, we hope that you enjoyed That Groovy Scoobcast.
And come back next year for a Scooby snack-filled time.
Bye, guys.
Bye!